Yeah, so not that many people watch the recordings, but in case anyone wants to.
I think it's nice. All right, so today we will do a lot of things actually. For your understanding, today we'll do samengestelde werkwoorden. Thomas will tell you something about that later. Well, there's a nice picture here. Don't know if you want to read it, but so today we'll do homework, werk van de week, the passieve form. I will tell you something about that, and then Thomas will tell you about the samengestelde woorden. So the werkwoord van de week is zien. So the verb of the week is zien, which is the translation of seeing or see in English. So it would just be in present, ik zie, jij je ziet, hij ziet, wij zien, jullie zien, zij zien. The passive, it's ik zag, jij zag, hij zag, wij zagen, jullie zagen en zij zagen. En voor de past participle, ik heb gezien, jij hebt gezien, hij zei het heeft gezien, wij hebben het gezien. En the same voor jullie en zij. So homework, you have to translate some sentences. And the first sentence, oh nice, it's split up. Would you like to have a drink with me? Did anyone do the translation?
I don't know if I translated literally, but I can try.
No, that's okay. Just try.
So jij willen hebben een drink met me?
Okay, almost correct. Zou je een drankje met mij willen doen of hebben?
Okay.
So those are both possible, but you have to switch up the order of the sentence. But nice, very good.
Okay.
Yes, very good. You just need to remember that you put all the other verbs, you just put at the end.
Yeah.
And in that you would usually say, zou je met mij willen doen? Would you like to do a drink with me instead of would you like to have a drink with me? Zou je met mij willen hebben? Could be possible, but you would know that.
All right. So the next sentence: he could have gone to the cinema if he had enough money in his bank account. Anyone? If you didn't do the homework, just try to do it on the spot.
Yeah, be brave.
I can try.
Yeah.
Hij had kunnen gaan naar de bioscoop als hij had genoeg geld op zijn bank.
Yeah, okay. So a bank account would be bankrekening. So it would be hij zou naar de bioscoop kunnen zijn gegaan. Could have gone.
Oh, okay.
Als hij genoeg geld op zijn bankrekening had of had staan. So technically you could also say if he had stand money in his bank account, which would be a little bit weird, but in Dutch it would also be possible. So very good, nice.
Yeah, indeed, good again. Just remember, put the verbs at the other verbs at the end of the sentence.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you could see it as two separate sentences, like he could have gone to the cinema, that if he had enough, and then you can just see those as two sentences on their own. Okay, we will think about it.
Wij zal denken over.
Okay, very good. But in this case, it's we will think about it would be we zullen which is coming back, over nadenken. But very good.
For this, can it also be wij zullen denk over het?
No, usually we don't use it that order. The translation would be correct, but we don't really use that order of the sentence. And actually practically always use instead of talking of praten over het.
Okay.
Yeah,
you could say
if use the instead of het, because it's like used in combination with the preposition, namely about, and then we always use instead of het. Right. And otherwise, wij zullen denk over het. You would need the second verb would need to be an infinitive, and then it would need to go at the end of the sentence. So wij zullen erover denken could be also correct, but in Dutch the more common form is erover nadenken.
So if there would be, you could say, if you would say, we will think about the idea, for example, then there would be like a clear subject. Then you could say, we zullen over het idee nadenken.
Yes.
But then still the verb would still be at the end of the sentence, the infinitive.
Okay.
But in that case, you wouldn't have to use er.
Okay.
Clear?
I'm sorry.
Yeah?
Why is it nadenken? When you use na?
Nadenken is practically just like the word. It's always together. It's never a split up. But we will also talk later about words that you will be able to split up. But it's just
Yeah.
like, it's just the word. Nadenken is one word.
Yeah,
Which sounds
it's-
weird because
yeah, nadenken is thinking about something or thinking over something, and denken is just thinking.
Yeah.
If you want to think about something, you always use this na. It's na
Yeah.
prefix, but we'll get to that in a bit about
Yeah.
what these prefixes do.
Okay, the fourth sentence. We weren't able to come because our car was broken. Anyone? Just try to split up into sentence. We weren't able to come, and then because our car was broken.
It would be we konden niet komen en then omdat onze auto was kapot.
Very good. Only thing is, turn like the kapot and was
Yeah. Okay.
the order. But very good, nice.
Yes. Very good.
All right. The fifth sentence. Do you fancy meeting anytime soon?
Yeah, this is kind of hard. Yeah. Like you
Yeah.
get perfectly, that's totally fine. But still trying.
I didn't really get what does it mean, like fancy meeting. It's like imagine.
No, more like would you like to?
anytime soon?
Yeah.
Oh, so is it then wil je afspreken binnenkort?
Yeah, you could translate it like that, but you could also say, zou je het leuk vinden om binnenkort af te spreken? You could also say, wil je binnenkort afspreken? But then you would leave out the part that says fancy.
Indeed. There's a lot of ways to translate this because it's not a
Yeah.
sentence that's used in Dutch per se, so you need to make something out of it. But again, just the infinitive at the end.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's very different from English, so that will take some time to get used to. But it's good that we can see it here as well.
My brother was studying all the time.
My broer zat de hele tijd te studeren.
Very good. That's also a very good possibility. So that's also good. You could also say, mijn broer was de hele tijd aan het studeren. But nice.
Yeah, very good.
And the last one, I think he might start chain smoking again, but he shouldn't do that.
If you don't know what chain smoking is in Dutch, just
Doesn't matter.
speak about it.
We could also.
Yeah, maybe you can do this.
I make a lot of noise though when I'm typing. Sorry. Be ketting roken. Anyone? Otherwise, just try. He might start again, and then, but he shouldn't do that.
I think I can do, but he shouldn't do that. That would be maar dat mag hij niet, or niet hij.
Nee, hij niet. Very good. That was a good translation. But it says shouldn't. It doesn't say that he is not allowed to per se. But you could also say that he is not allowed to do that. For example, you could implicate that that he shouldn't do it because he might get in trouble or something like that. All right, so we'll just do this one. Oh, good. Okay. So I'll just give you this translation. Does anyone have questions about this?
Could you maybe go word for word and say what each of the words are?
Yeah, so I'm trying to, perfect, okay. I had this bar in the bottom of my screen so I couldn't exactly see the translation, because if I do a different translation, you would know you have the, okay. So he would just be hij. Might start again, gaat misschien weer beginnen. So might would be misschien. He might start again. Misschien begint hij weer. Starting would be, or start would beginnen. Again would be weer. Chain smoking, I put in the chat, is kettingroken. So he would start again with chain smoking technically. Hij gaat misschien weer beginnen met kettingroken, but dat zou hij niet moeten doen. He shouldn't do it. Shouldn't is usually translated with zou niet.
Yeah, zou niet.
Ja, zou niet moeten. Yeah, in this case especially.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, any other questions about this part? Oh, okay. Then we'll just...
maybe one more comment about that sentence.
Yeah.
What's kind of difficult about it is that might also doesn't really have a straightforward translation into Dutch.
No.
So might is sort of a verb in English, and in Dutch, I think the best translation is misschien gaan. So possibly go. So he is possibly going to start chain smoking again is approximately the same as he might start chain smoking again. So that's also kind of a difficulty in translation.
Yeah. Right. So the passive form. In Dutch, usually you use the passive form and you use the word worden. En dan worden plus de past participle. So het nieuws wordt uitgezonden. De nieuws is broadcasted. De journalist wordt bedreigd. The journalist was being threatened. And you pretty much just use worden plus a predicate, which would mean to become. So the newspapers would become wet. De kranten worden nat. And in that case, het nieuws wordt uitgezonden. The news is going to be broadcasted. Something is about to happen. It's going to become wet. Anything like that. Do you have anything to add to that, Thomas?
Not really. It's a bit different from how it is done in English. So in English, you don't use to become, but you use is with a conjugation of to be with being. So it is being broadcasted. It wasn't being threatened. In Dutch, you just use become the worden. So the news is becoming broadcasted, or the journalist was becoming threatened. That sounds a bit different in English, but it has the same meaning as was be or is. And you also use the past participle in English.
Right. Any questions about this?
I think there's one more slide about this.
Nope.
No, it is not. Well, okay, so that's just basically the passive form in Dutch. It's not very difficult, but as you might have seen, where's my mouse?
I think you have to take over. Yeah.
As you could see here, for example, this is the first sentence. Het nieuws werd uitgezonden. You see this ge from the past participle is suddenly in the middle of the word. Ah, how weird. Now, we're going to talk about those kinds of words. Those kinds of words are a part of samengestelde werkwoorden. Samengestelde werkwoorden are conjoined verbs. There's a verb joined with something else, usually some sort of prefix, or a preposition. English also has these, but they're a bit different. We'll get to it. So, ze bestaan uit meerdere delen. They are composed in multiple parts. Here are some examples. Opstijgen, lift all. Beloven, promise. Ontdooien, to fall. Hardlopen, to run. Hout hakken, to chop wood. Yes, we'll see a lot of examples in a bit, and you can practice with it, etc., etc. But what
Sorry.
we know is that
Thomas, I don't know what conjoined verbs are in English. Can you give me an English example?
yes, I'm pretty sure there is. Let me think. Let's think of a good example. Maybe the verb detransition or something, or over deliver, or
Like, so like, I've never heard of this phrase in English grammar. I don't.
okay.
Yes.
So they're a little less common in English, and I should have a better example to find out. Nah, yeah, that's sort of an example. There's indeed a verb that always goes with a another word, preposition, but there are these kinds of verbs in English. And the difficulty in English is that they are now kind of rare and they're usually inseparable. So we usually think about them as one word. Okay, let me just look up a good word. The problem, well, that's not a problem in English, but in English they are very simple and they just behave like normal verbs.
Okay.
So okay, I don't think they're called conjoined. I don't really know what they're called in English, but it's they're verbs in English. Could have a maybe the verb. Yeah, so these verbs are kind of niche. To upskill, overlook. Yeah, that's like a
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
like look. That means one thing. Overlook means the different thing. It's
Okay.
prefix means something. Rephrase is also a good example. Thank you, Natalia.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Exactly. But these words are very kind of ubiquitous in English, and you don't really think about them as being different kinds of verbs. And in Dutch, the equivalent of those would be the onscheidbare werkwoorden, the inseparable verbs. They're not separated. The difficult part comes from the separable verbs, which I think we'll get to first. Yes. So separable verbs, they consist out of, they're just together only in two cases, as an infinitive or as a past participle. In all the other cases, they get separated. That's why they call separable verbs, scheidbare werkwoorden. So here you can say, de correspondent heeft zijn verslag uitgebracht. De band wil een nieuw album uitbrengen. So the verb here is the final verb in the second sentence is uitbrengen, to bring out, to publish in English. So the first sentence would mean the correspondent has published his report. The second sentence would mean the band wants to publish a new album. But in Dutch, this verb to publish, uitbrengen, consists out of brengen, to bring, and uit, namely out. So in these cases, they're together, samengesteld, conjoined, but in all other cases, they get separated. So we'll see that now. No, we won't see it now. Oh, we will. I'll go over the first part in a bit, but let's talk about the second part. In andere vormen worden deze delen gescheiden. So in every other case, these verbs get separated. Het vliegtuig stijgt op. So the conjoined verb here is opstijgen, which means to rise or to lift off. And in infinitives or past participles, these are together, but in other cases, like here's the present simple, they are apart. So het vliegtuig stijgt op, the airplane lifts off. That's kind of an example as in English. De oplage van de NRC nam af. The oplage, why does Sebas always pick these annoying words? The amount of newspapers of the NRC, it's a newspaper in the Netherlands, decreased. So the total verb is afnemen, and here's the thing is the form of the verb is nam af. So what happens in the past participle or the past simple, or those two, for instance, is that you have the whole verb, namely opstijgen or afnemen, and then if you conjugate them, you first put the conjugation of the verb part, and then you put the prefix after it. So you get from opstijgen becomes stijgt op. Now, I put in two eyes, but whatever, you get the point. So let's go to the first part of the slide. You have to pay attention to the past participle. The past participle normally just becomes, you have the verb, you put ge in front of it, and then you put a d or a t at the end. But as you know, a lot of verbs are irregular, and then this becomes a bit weird. How you make the past participle of a conjoined verb is to first you have the total verb, namely doorlezen here in the first sentence. Ik heb dat artikel doorgelezen. I have read through that article. Dat is doorlezen. Through reading. And how you do this is you just take the prefix, namely door, and then you put in the past participle of the verb part. So the verb is lezen, and the past participle is gelezen. And so you just take that, gelezen, and you put door in front of it, doorgelezen. Yes, or in practice, what this means is you put ge in between the prefix and the verb. I think we will see some more examples of this in a bit. Okay, no. But we'll practice with this in a bit. So if this is a bit unclear, we'll get to it. Inseparable verbs, they are somewhat more straightforward, but it's annoying that there are two of them. So you have to kind of tell which ones are inseparable, which ones are separable, which is possible. So they are also consisting of multiple parts, but they will always stay as one verb. So here are some examples: behalen, mislukken, glimlachen, vergaan. And these mean, behalen means to accomplish, mislukken means to fail, glimlachen means to smile, and vergaan means to, what does that mean? Vergaan, to go under, to there's like a very poetic verb here for this that I can't think of right now. Doesn't really matter what it means. How you okay, let's see.
Vergaan would be perish, right?
To perish,
Sort
yes,
of?
that's what I was looking for. Great. So okay, there's basically there are two cases of the inseparable verbs. You have those with just the most straightforward one. They have a prefix, and you have those which have a word in front that's not a normal prefix, but just a normal word. So here we have behalen. Let's go here. So here, beloven, vergaan, ontsnappen, mislukken. We have these prefixes be, ver, ont, and mis. The ont and mis prefixes are sort of analogous to the English prefixes un or die. They just mean sort of negative. They negate sort of the and if you have these verbs with these kinds of prefixes, then the past participle, you don't add a ge, because we already have a prefix. So it is not, the prefix would not be gebeloofd, but it would just be beloofd. We already saw this in the lesson about the present perfect. Ik heb het beloofd, het schip is vergaan, hij is ontsnapt, het is mislukt. So you don't add, it isn't ge ontsnapt or gemislukt. Although you could put here gemislukt, said by native speakers sometimes, but you don't. Yeah, there's fewer slides than I remember, but I'll explain it a bit more after we go through this. So we have these with the prefix, be, per, or sometimes even ge, and ont and mis, and you have those with like a part that is a word on its own. These are pretty rare. You won't see them often, but it's good to know what they are. Here are two examples: glimlachen and stofzuigen. Glimlachen means to smile, and stofzuigen means back. These two get good. Get intake. Mijn moeder heeft stofzuigen.
Your audio is
Oh, okay. I will
falling
read
down.
a bit more.
For me at least, but okay.
No, okay, but if it's for you, it's probably also for the rest. So again, these are rare and they do get a ge at the front. So het kind heeft geglimlacht, mijn moeder heeft gestofzuigd, etc., etc. And also in the present simple or past simple, these do retain their prefix and they do become together. So, for example, I smiled would be ik glimlachte. And not ik lachte glim. And stofzuigen becomes ik stofzuig, I vacuum, and not ik zuig stof. Which sounds kind of funny. One way to sort of remember whether something is separable or inseparable is telling by the prefix. So this is a sort of rule. Sort of rule, I mean, there's exceptions, but just assume this for now. If it's ver, be, or ge as the prefix, like in these cases, then they are inseparable. Also, if the prefix changes the meaning of the word to mean kind of the opposite, then they are also inseparable. For example, here, mislukken means to fail, while lukken means to succeed. Mislukken changes the meaning to be the opposite, basically, and therefore the verbs are inseparable. And that is basically it about this. One more thing that I want to say that I remember there being a slide about it. But as an example, I will go here. So see the first sentence. Do you fancy meeting anytime soon? Which to translate into Dutch, I took it to mean, do you want to meet anytime soon? Or would you like to meet anytime soon? The translation of this to in Dutch is om te. So you can see here, zou je het leuk vinden om binnenkort af te spreken? And if you have this construction with to in front of an infinitive, to meet, in Dutch, this becomes om te and then the infinitive. However, as you can see here, afspreken, to meet, this prefix gets separated and te gets put in the center. So if you have a separable verb and the words om te are in the sentence, meaning to do something, the te will separate the af, the prefix from the main. That is very kind of abstract, and you will probably not remember to do that every single time. But that is the reason why this after this cake, which we have seen a couple of times now already, so it might be why. Again, we don't tell you these things in order for you to just instantly get them, but we'll kind of know why certain things happen. Okay, so having said that, there's an exercise I would like to do. Before that, I want to ask, we have, because we have so any questions about these separate? If you don't, if you have questions during it, please ask now. Are confused. No? Okay. Well, then maybe the confusion will arise from doing the exercise. So please go to exercise 1 in your booklet. It's kind of long, like 8 questions. So I'll give you 10 minutes for it. Let me know when you're done. And please let me know if you have any questions about the word you can understand. Okay?
Verenigen is wel echt. It's a terrible word.
Yeah. It's not a very common word.
Just a nice little challenge.
Sebastians have a knack for picking very obscure words.
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it's just words that aren't used that much anymore.
No. And so not all of these questions are about separable verbs. Some of them are also about the passive.
This exercise, you actually put in ketting roken.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do it for the other sentences as well.
That would have been a good example of a compound verb in English. Chain smoking.
Yeah. That's right under our noses. Yeah, that's actually one that they also use. So.
There's someone at the door. 10. Yeah, first at least. No, for this maybe. No questions yet about the exercise?
Not that I heard. So.
I have one.
Ah,
Losmaken is a conjoined verb, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But then which rule is followed for that? I don't remember the rules again.
So in your booklet, it also says words with verb and ont usually are inseparable verbs. It's on page 32. Be like on top of the.
Oh, under the page 32 for me is exercise 2 and 3.
Oh, do you have like a PDF version?
Yeah, I have the PDF.
On
yeah.
which?
It's
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. On which page is the exercise for you?
31.
Do you have like a nice column above it, like that on top says onscheidbare werkwoorden, and then in between brackets inseparable verbs? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have some sentences that are also translated to English, and then the bottom sentence says veel voorkomende voorvoegsels. So you can assume that if a word starts with verb or ont, that it's usually a inseparable verb.
Okay.
always actually. With
Okay.
these.
Yeah. I can also not think of any exceptions. So
No, definitely with buffer. No.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
this is a separable one.
Yeah.
Thank you. So the separate part of this is maken or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maken is the verb. Los is the prefix thing.
Smaak is also a word, right?
Ah, yeah. But it is
Yeah.
maken.
That's taste.
Okay.
Outside in the.
Yeah. No, indeed, smaken is indeed also a verb. So. Yeah, I don't know what los means, but low is not a word in Dutch. But you would know that.
Loss would be like a translation of loose, right?
Los?
Lost and loose.
Yeah, no, but low.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But low is not a word.
No. Loose would be what I'm not really clear from translation or anything, I think.
And if you're already done, let us know. You kind of assess how many people are already done, so we can start talking.
Some other
Sure.
fun things.
It's kind of difficult, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are a lot of words that I don't know.
No, I mean, like some words are like not that common as well. So,
Yeah.
well, I mean, they are common, but not as commonly used.
Learn some vocabulary
Well, that too.
in our course.
But then the thing is, you would also have to be able to use it like in your daily life.
Do
Just
what?
try to make sentences that you can use the words in.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're not that far yet, then it's not that important to translate the nouns and the adjectives. If you keep those in place and just translate the sentence, make it a Dutch sentence with the verbs correctly, the words correctly placed. That's also good.
Yeah, so just put the verbs in the correct.
Yeah. It's not that important.
That's what I did too.
Salesman for Dutch.
No, not really.
Johanna had ons ook een mail gestuurd. Of nee, alleen mij een mail gestuurd dat ze niet meer naar de les zou komen omdat ze te druk was met de Unie.
Oké.
Helaas.
Ja, dat is sowieso een beetje lastig natuurlijk.
Ja, heel begrijpelijk.
Oh, on that note, ik heb volgende week een tentamen, dus ik moet even kijken of ik het dan red. Ik vermoed wel dat ik er nog bij ben, maar...
Ja, als
dat,
je die redt. Het is een recap les, dus dat is niet super.
Ja. Ja, ze mogen gaan speeddaten, toch?
Ja, speeddate wil ik wel graag doen.
Ja,
Als
ik
je
denk
zeg maar alleen voor dat deel wil komen, dat is ook prima. Daar is het inderdaad wel handig om mee te doen.
Ja.
Alright, we've been working on this exercise for a bit already. Normally I would just decide to go through the exercise, but I want to ask you, would you like some more time to finish the exercises? Or do you just want to discuss it?
Yeah, for me, I think I won't be able to do any better.
That's okay.
Okay.
If you just try to put the words in the words in brackets in the right.
All right. Well, it's at least it's almost half of the classes.
Yeah. So if you're
That's it.
done and you want to discuss it, just tell us, guys. Then
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can continue.
All right. Okay, let's discuss it then. Wait, just a reminder. All right. I will ask you to try. And even if you don't know all the words, that's fine. It's just about the structure. So we were united again, and the verb united is verenigen in Dutch. So could someone try to translate this for me?
Yeah, I think it is we waren opnieuw verenigd.
Yes, very good. Of we waren weer verenigd. Both words. Very good. The next one. The old church
sorry.
is being demolished. Oh,
I have a question, sorry. So weer is again then?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you said opnieuw is also correct.
Okay.
use-
In the same spot also.
Yeah, we waren opnieuw verenigd.
Okay, thanks.
Weer is a little less more, is a bit more colloquial, a little less formal than opnieuw. So
Yeah, okay, thanks.
both fine. All right. The old church is being demolished. Demolished being slopen in Dutch. Anyone?
De oude kerk wordt slopen.
Almost. Indeed, it says slopen, but that is the infinitive. So it should be gesloopt, but otherwise, indeed correct. If the use for it. De oude kerk wordt gesloopt. The car salesman misled the potential buyers.
De autoverkoper heeft de mogelijke kopers gemisleiden.
Yes, indeed. It would be gemisleid, but otherwise indeed correct. Or you could say de autoverkoper misleidde de mogelijke kopers, potentiële kopers. Indeed correct. Maar heeft de mogelijke kopers gemisleid? Will actually probably be more common because the Dutch like using the present verb.
It would be mislead, right?
Huh?
Wouldn't it be misled?
Oh, yeah, sorry. It doesn't have the ge. If it has miss in front, then you don't use it. As I said before, native Dutch speakers often do that. They say gemisleid, gemislukt. Technically not correct, but you would be understandable because I mean I would have said that apparently. But indeed, you don't need to ge here, or you.
Yeah, officially you could say it.
Yeah. All right. Very good. The sailor has untied the knot, and to untie is losmaken.
I think it is de zeeman heeft de knoop losgemaakt.
Yes, very good. De zeeman heeft de knoop losgemaakt. Of de zeeman maakte de knoop los. Right. The flight attendant smiled at the boy. And to smile is glimlachen.
So I don't know how to say the flight attendant, but geklimlacht by the jongen. Or no?
You wouldn't put the past participle in the middle, but it is indeed correct. That is inseparable. So you would say the steward or stewardess glimlachte naar de jongen, or heeft naar de jongen geglimlacht.
Okay.
But yeah, correct. The old lady has chain smoked her whole life, and to chain smoke is kettingkoken.
Oh, sorry.
No, go. You can go, Vera.
Okay, thank you, Justine. De oud dame heeft haar hele leven ketting gerookt.
Yes. It would be very natural to assume that ketting roken is a separable verb, but unfortunately, this is one of those exceptions that is inseparable. So it would be the oude vrouw or the oude dame, like you said, heeft haar hele leven gekend. And well, you would know that, but it is inseparable because you wouldn't say the oude dame, for example, I chain smoke. If someone were to say that, or you change to say, in Dutch you wouldn't say ik rook ketting, because that would be literally I smoke chain. And dan here. This is always very good. I have paid the bill. And paid being betaald.
Ik heb de rekening betaald.
Yes. Ik heb de rekening betaald. Very good. And last, the terrorist was being arrested. And to arrest is arresteren. Anyone?
De terrorist werd gearresteerd.
Yes. De terrorist werd gearresteerd. Very good. All right. So that was it about these separable, inseparable verbs. This was an example indeed of the passive form. Do you have any questions about this still? Or is it sort of clear? And then sort of clear and very broad. Oh, okay, cool. Then we will have a break. And after the break, we will do 2 exercises. First, we'll have a listening exercise, where you'll listen to a broadcast of the Dutch news, and you have to answer some questions. And then a reading exercise, where you have to read some text and answer some questions. These are 2 skills that we don't really practice that often. So let's have a 10-minute break, and back here. Yeah, 5 past 6.
Will we be able to make the reading exercise within that time?
No, I think
I mean,
it will take quite a while.
yeah. Well, you could also do that as homework, maybe. Just start reading now and then discuss it as homework next week, maybe.
We could do that. I mean, we don't have anything else planned, so I think it will be possible.
If you wouldn't make it. I mean, if you make it, it wouldn't matter, but
Yeah, I think we'll make it. We just have the journal, which is like very short.
yeah, that's really short, right? Yeah.
So I think we'll make it.
Right.
Okay. So see you back here in 7 minutes now.